Hey everyone, and welcome to Fright, your semi-weekly source for horror reviews. DVD multi-packs. Everyone with a passion for film has bought at least one in their lifetime. Usually it's because there's at least one good film that you want in there, paired with a bunch of stuff that you either don't like or have never even heard of. Well, recently I bought one for the same reasons. Out of 8 movies, it had 2 that I'd seen and liked but didn't own, and 2 others that I'd been meaning to watch but hadn't been able to find. But what about the others? Sometimes it's the movies that you stumble across that turn out to be the most fun, so I've decided to dedicate the next few episodes to taking a look at them. We've already seen Slaughter High, so let's start with our next subject, The Unholy. Released in 1988, The Unholy is a bit of an odd duck. I don't pretend to have a comprehensive knowledge of every horror movie ever made, but I'd never even heard this one mentioned before, and to encounter something like that is a bit of a rarity for me. Anyway, the story starts out with a priest, Father Dennis, who is currently praying not to be murdered by demons. He is not successful. After that, we cut to another priest, our main character, Father John Michael. He's been called to a hotel to deal with a man who's been threatening to jump from a ledge. Unlike Father Dennis, he's actually successful in his mission, but unfortunately gets his ass hucked out of the window by a demon immediately after. The end. Nah, just kidding. Instead, he miraculously survives without any injuries. When his church superiors find out, they immediately promote him to pastor of Father Dennis's church, either because having a demon-proof pastor will keep them from having to promote someone else due to demon murder, or maybe just because they want to see what it takes to actually kill this guy. Of course, his sudden promotion doesn't stop Father John Michael from having a few questions for his benefactors.
Your fall, it troubles you.
Doesn't it trouble you?
As a priest, you're called upon to believe in many unexplained occurrences which you accept as fact.
But there were witnesses.
The church is taking care of that. His Holiness does not approve of miracles.
Yes, because as we all know, the Catholic Church would absolutely hate to have evidence of God's presence in our daily lives. Anyway, once he gets to his new assignment, /papal mandated death trap, he quickly begins to search for answers about Father Dennis's death. Along the way, he discovers that Father Dennis wasn't the first priest killed there, score 1 for Team Death Trap theory, and that Father Dennis had a connection to both Millie, a mentally ill local waitress, and her boss Luke, whose hobbies include performing satanic ceremonies at his local nightclub. That and performing a mean Billy Idol impression while being possessed by demons.
Come on, it's a nice day for a white wedding.
After Mr. Let's Get Possessed by Demons and Shove a Living Saint Out a Window shows up to make a mess by the altar, John Michael learns the truth, that he's been chosen to fight the Unholy, a demon that tempts people to sin, and if they give in, kills them to ensure that they go to hell. Which is why the demon threw him out the window when he was committing the ultimate sin of stopping a guy from committing suicide? Spreading secondhand smoke? Were there a few commandments that we weren't made aware of?
The Lord Jehovah, has given unto you these 10 commandments.
Anyway, they tell him that tonight will be his final battle against the demon, and after rejecting its human form, he finally sees the true face of evil itself. So, hell's on a bit of a budget these days, huh? Well, as silly looking as the ultimate incarnation of evil looks, it sends John Michael on a grade A tour of hell, which is apparently full of some surprisingly good practical effects. Unfortunately, John Michael is not impressed, and God gives him the power to banish unsightly special effects back to the pit from whence they came. Oh, and once it's all over, he goes blind. God, what a practical joker. Anyway, I was actually pretty surprised at how much I liked this movie. A lot of horror movies use battles between demons and priests as their subject, and most times it comes down to a contest of wills or even a physical battle. Sometimes a priest does find his faith legitimately tested, and other times a demon will try to seduce him away from his faith, but let's face it, most of those attempts are less than appealing.
Lick me!
No thanks. Here, Father John Michael finds himself legitimately tempted and has his faith thrown into doubt several times. I've seen other attempts at filmmaking rooted in Christian principles, and most times they come across as, well, preachy. This movie seems to espouse those same themes, but is wise enough to leave them in the background rather than using them to club you like a baby seal. It also helps that they have a strong cast and that the characters are all fairly well written. Even Luke, who could easily have become a two-dimensional scumbag, gets a bit of depth before the end. On top of that, the special effects are actually pretty decent, with certain exceptions. World's lamest hellbeast aside, The Unholy is definitely worth a watch, although you may have to go through a little bit of work to get it. From what I understand, this 8 DVD pack is the only release it's gotten stateside, so you may have to track this down unless you've got a region-free DVD player. Anyway, that's all we have time for this week. See you next time on Fright Bites.
Surrender.